Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be doing an in-depth review of the Hobolite Mini Creator Kit. I'm pleased to announce that my 3 Capture One style packs, Metamorphic Portraits, The Sound of Silver, and Rangefinder are all now available for purchase on my website. Check out a link in the description of this video. And now, on to today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So, I have in the past come across Hobolite lights, and I got to check them out at the WPPI show. I actually did an interview with Helena, the CEO of Hobolite, and their lights really stood out to me. They were one of the coolest things I saw at the show, and so Hobolite decided to send me some of their lights to review. And in today's review, we are going to go over the Mini Creator Kit. Now, this is a tiny light. It's roughly the size of a GoPro. I mean, look at that. That's tiny. Now, it's thicker than a GoPro, but it's really small. And another thing that stands out is that it has a lens, so you can go between a flood and a spot. So they put the optics inside of this as opposed to using like a zoom reflector or a hard reflector. And so that stood out to me and was quite unique. Now, I want to put this guy through the paces because it does look cool. It looks like a cross between a Mole Richardson light and Hasselblad. Here, I got one right here. There we go, Hasselblad. Yeah, pretty cool design cues, I would say. This is kind of a classic design. So they look good, but how good do they actually perform, which is, of course, the most important thing. So we're going to get to the bottom of that in today's episode. Let's talk about what comes with the Creator Kit. Let's talk about the specifications of the mini light. I'll even show you how to operate it. And of course, we'll test out some examples of how good this light is. Is it nothing but a bunch of good looks, or is it actually a good light? We'll also look at who I recommend buy this light and who should pass on this light. So let's get started. The Hobolite Mini is a 20-watt bi-color light with a 15 to 45 degree spot to flood zoom lens, and it has an integrated battery. It has a CRI TLCI rating of 96 plus, and it has a color temperature range of 2700 to 6500 Kelvin. It has an NFC connection for mobile app control. It weighs just 1 pound. It has tiny dimensions of 3.3 by 2.5 by 4 inches. And when purchased as a bundle, it comes in at a street price of $399 US. When purchased as a kit, you get the 20-watt mini fixture, mini barn doors, multicolored gels, a grid, a dome diffuser, a Type-C charging cable, a 20-watt power adapter, a desktop tripod stand, a V-mount cold shoe adapter, and a V-mount ball head adapter. It also comes with a zippered hard carrying case for protection. They were also generous enough to provide velvety pouches for the light and accessories. Now let's talk about the basic operation on both the back of the unit and with the free app. To power on the light, just simply hold down this button with the target in the middle and then rotate it clockwise. You have 2 basic knobs. The one that I'm turning right now changes color temperature, and the one above changes intensity. You can variably change it as you move it from left to right. You can also change it in increments of 25% if you click it. And if you want a complete blackout, simply click the knob again. For the bottom knob, each click will take it up 1000 Kelvin. Now, if you hold down the top knob, your setup will come up and you can choose Bluetooth to turn that on and off. You can turn your fan on and off. You can scroll through the effects. You can change your language, you can toggle between luminance and intensity, and you can see which version of the firmware that you're on. Now let's check out the free app, which can be downloaded at all major app stores.
So you'll open up the app, you'll see that Hobolite logo come up, and you'll see fixtures that have been used in the past. As you can see, the mini fill, because I named it Fill, was immediately detected. I don't have the Avant with me, which is the key light. And when you look over to the right here, you can do things like rename it, you can turn the fan on and off, you can delete the device. We're gonna go ahead and select the device. I'm going to use the Hobolite Mini as a key light for this. So as you can see, you have your intensity. You can turn it up and down. I'm going to leave it at about 25, which is where I was. And then of course you have your color temperature. You also have your effects mode. You have flash. Now you have to hit the play button where it says loop at the bottom to begin each one of these sequences. So there you go. That's how that works. That's the flash. That's the flame. That's your television screen. Lightning. Pulse. Fireworks. A shutter or a paparazzi mode. And then you have an explosion. Now when you go to the more section, you can go in and turn the fan on and off. And the fan is a little bit noticeable. I mean, it's definitely noticeable. I wouldn't put my mics right next to it, but just something to keep in mind. You can of course power it off if you want, which I don't want to do because I won't see anything. And that's really it. You've got your 3 modes. You can also do groups, so you could group lights together, and you can also make scenes. So for my YouTube channel, if I want to make a scene, I could name it and I could have the lights set up a certain way and save that as a scene. And you can of course call the light, which is cool. Maybe if you have a multi-light setup, it'll flash the light that you have selected. So I have the Hobolite Mini Fill right now, and so when I click on it, it'll call the light. So that's really how this guy works. It's pretty straightforward.
You can download the Hobolite app at all major app stores. Now, let's talk about who I recommend this light for. If I were a full-time product photographer, I would probably just have 3 or 4 of these laying around. That's probably what I would build my setup off of. They're perfect for that style of photography. They're small, they're versatile, they're nimble, you can move them around, and of course you can take them on the go. I also found it to be a good kicker light for headshots. As you can see right here, I used it in conjunction with the Avant 100 as a key light, and the Mini served as an excellent kicker light, and I think it did a good job of highlighting hair and other features and just making this photo set pop a little bit more. I also thought it was just great to kind of fill in a subject when it was flat outside. So this is a shot I took right around golden hour. The subject was in the shade with a little bit of golden hour coming through. Of course, I matched that golden look because I had a bicolor light with me, and it gave it just enough pop for the subject to stand out instead of them looking flat with natural light. I also think that you should take a good look at this if you travel around a lot and you need to talk to the camera. As you can see right here, I did an episode where I was talking about a nomadic backpack. I simply took the Mini with me and an umbrella and the stand, and I was good to go. And I thought it lit me up just fine, and the power was perfect for this application. All right, so I have some time under my belt, about 2 months with the Hobolite Mini Creator Kit, so I think I have enough time under my belt to tell you my thoughts. So let's dive right into the pros and cons of this unit. Pros: it is tiny, it is light. It is something that you could fit 3 or 4 of in your bag along with your camera system if you have a large enough bag, like a 25 or 35 liter bag. This could be a complete setup for you on the road if you need to do product photography or something like that. And so I would say that that definitely falls under the pros. It's surprisingly bright. When I heard Hobolite make the claim that, yeah, it's only 20 watts, but it's still plenty bright for 20 watts, well, that is because they decided to use optics instead of large, bulky reflectors in order to amplify the light. And being able to put this between being a spot and a flood simply by twisting this like a quarter turn is pretty awesome. Oftentimes you'll see people use 60, 100, and 300 watt lights on set, and there are definitely scenarios in which this small 20 watt light can pull off the job. As you saw, it was bright enough to use this 20 watt light during golden hour to just give my subject a tiny bit more pop and make them stand out and a little less flat. I like the fact that this charges via USB-C. When I did the Avant review, I loved the Avant light, but you had to have either an AC or a DC device to plug into it in order to power the light. Everything is powered from within. Now, the 50-minute limit of this light may be perceived as a con, but because they make an accessory called a light dock, which you can just put on as a handle and extend the life of this light to 2.5 hours, and you can also put a second light onto that dock, I'm going to go ahead and put that under the pros. Additionally, their accessories are interchangeable. So this comes with the Avant. This is the adapter that comes with the Avant. But I actually like to use this adapter on my Mini. Additionally, this stand adapter that comes with the Mini, I oftentimes will put my Avant on it as a kicker. So the ability to interchange accessories between Hobolite fixtures is definitely a pro. I found the quality of the light to be fantastic. I didn't find that it varied. When I put it at a particular color temperature, it accurately reproduced everything. Everything from the luminosity to the colors look amazing on this fixture. I gotta say that for $3.99, I would say that it is a good value considering all the accessories that it comes with. It comes with barn doors, it comes with magnetic gels, it comes with this really cool adapter that has a stand on it. It even comes with an adapter that goes on top of the hot shoe of your camera, and then they also give you nice pouches in addition to a zippered hard shell case. So for $3.99, I think that the Hobolite Mini Creator Kit is an incredible value. Durability is another thing I'd like to talk about with this fixture. When I was at the WPPI show, I saw Helena, the CEO, continuously do what she called the drop test. So every time she would show this light to people, she would literally just drop it on the ground about a 3-foot fall. Now, I would imagine if you spiked it like a football, it wouldn't fare as well. But that drop test that I saw over and over and over the course of a few days led me to the conclusion that if this were to fall out of my backpack due to a loose compartment, I wouldn't necessarily have anything to worry about in terms of all the internals and how it would function moving forward. And while this next feature I'm about to talk about isn't necessarily revolutionary, it's still absolutely a pro, which is that this light, like most lights nowadays, comes with an app, and the app is absolutely fantastic and simple to use, and it makes it more powerful, especially when these fixtures are like, 10 feet up on a stand and they're hard to get to. You just pull out your phone, you use the app, it does exactly what you want it to do. But nothing is perfect, and I do want to talk about the cons. And the very first con is, while this light is durable, I'm not a huge fan of the way that this goes on top, the barn doors. You have to tighten this down. And this material, while it's not like sandpaper rough, it's certainly not smooth. I think that the inside of this could have been lined with felt. So my Fuji X100 6 has a lens cover, and the lens cover is lined with felt. So when it brushes up against the lens, it's not going to over time create those little scratch streaks on the lens itself, on the outer shell of the lens. As I continually take this on and off of this lens, I do wonder if streaks and scratches are going to form over time. The fan on this is a little loud. I wouldn't say it's annoying, but if you are within a meter of it, you can definitely hear the fan, so be mindful when using your microphones in relation to this fixture. I find that while the 20-watt output of this light does exceed expectations, by no means is it going to replace your 100 and your 300-watt fixtures. There were very few moments where I was able to get this thing to work outside of a meter, but I found that for most of the work that I did, I had to get this fixture about a meter from my subject to get my settings on my camera where I wanted them to be. So that is absolutely something you need to keep in mind when you think about how you work as a videographer or a photographer. It may not be a big deal if you have something on a tripod, you can use longer shutter speeds, but if you need to use faster shutter speeds, that could be an issue if you don't want to bump up that ISO too much. And then lastly, the only other thing I can think of that I would consider to be a con of this light is the fact that there is no way to mount this to a Bowens mount. Now, they do make a foldable softbox that is priced at $89, which I think is a pretty good deal, especially considering that it is a foldable softbox that comes with lighting gels. But let's say you have a 20-inch softbox of your own that you want to put on this. You can't do that. And while it's cool that the adapter does have an umbrella holder, so you can use an umbrella with this, you cannot use a Bowens mount or a Profoto or an Elinchrom or whatever brand you want to insert softbox. You have to use Hobolite's softbox, and sometimes the size of that softbox isn't going to be large enough for what you're trying to light up. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. This may not be a one-size-fits-all in terms of modifiers. That is something you're going to have to consider with your lighting setup. But overall, I would say that this light is an incredible value, this kit is incredible value, and the pros definitely far outweigh the cons. That does it for today's episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today. Do you have the Hobolite Mini or the Mini Creator Kit? Tell me about it in the comments below and tell me how you're enjoying it or not enjoying it. And if you're a fan of this channel, I do humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And for those of you who've been following my channel for a while, I did want to announce that my styles packs for Capture One, Metamorphic Portraits, The Sound of Silver, and Rangefinder are now available on my website for purchase, and there's a really special deal if you buy all three of them at once. And if you're a fan of this channel and my unfiltered opinions on photography are something that you're interested in, I do highly recommend you go check out my other YouTube channel, the F11 Photography Podcast, which can be found on all major platforms, including Apple and Spotify. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.